Hi, I'm Silarius, and today we're going to talk about the Ashley Madison hack and linking to the data from it, and the safety and legality thereof. The Ashley Madison hack, for those who haven't heard of it, is a hack against Ashley Madison, a social media dating site targeted at cheating spouses. Last month, Avid Life Media, the owner of Ashley Madison and its sister site Established Men, admitted that they had been hacked. This was quickly followed by an announcement by a group calling themselves the Impact Team, taking credit for the hack. Impact Team also promised that if the sites were not taken down promptly, that they would swiftly release the data that they had hacked from the Ashley Madison database. They followed through with that threat today, Tuesday, August 18th. Now, this data contains a lot of logins, credit card transactions, password hashes, and profile history. So it's very useful for moral shaming, blackmail, things like that. I don't personally have much interest in the data, but some people do, and that's perfectly fine. What's unfortunate, however, is that many people are freaking out about whether or not it's legal or safe to link to this data. They are citing the Barrett Brown case as reason to justify their claim that it is illegal to link to this data, and that if you link to it, you might get Barrett Brown. First of all, that's an unfair use of the man's name. Barrett Brown, what he actually did was create a wiki and database on the crimes and mischief perpetrated by private intelligence contractors. So if we're going to talk about Barrett Browning things, that would be a more appropriate use of the term. The other thing to know about this is that the Barrett Brown case did not actually settle any case law. In no way is it a settled issue or in any way clearly statable that that as a result of the Barrett Brown case, you now can't legally link to hacked documents. That's not true. The feds have tried very, very hard to make it illegal and unacceptable to link to hacked documents. They've tried very, very hard to make this possible for them, but they have not succeeded. Barrett Brown was a special case. They thought they could get away with charging him with this and that it would stick. But when Barrett Brown's lawyers fought it in court, when they prepared their response, eviscerating the government's arguments for charging Barrett Brown with fraud because he linked to a document containing credit card numbers, the government promptly dropped those charges and negotiated a plea agreement. This should tell you something. The government's position that it is illegal to link to hacked documents is on shaky ground. First of all, they're not even making it illegal to just link to hacked documents at all, but they're trying to start with just making it illegal to link to stolen authentication features, passwords, credit card identification information, things like that. Things that people could use for fraudulent purposes. But they did not even succeed in that piece of bullshit. Barrett Brown is a very, very particular case because Barrett Brown, A, protected Jeremy Hammond. He revealed that he knew who was behind the hacks, but did not reveal who it was. This opened him up to some liability. Barrett Brown also made nonviolent threats on YouTube. Now, these threats aren't actually worth charging someone with a crime for. This was simply a threat to dox the FBI officer who was pursuing him and his family and just expose whatever they had been up to. This was not actually a threat of violence, but they tried to spin it like it was. And thirdly, when he was raided, Barrett Brown concealed his laptops and tried to hide them before the feds eventually found them.
I'd like to make an argument, Silerius. I would argue that his threat was violent and that he spun it as, I'm going to ruin your fucking life, but that it wasn't physically violent. What do you think about that?
That's a fair point. It was psychologically violent. It was violent against the mental state of the agent, but it was not violent against his actual physical well-being or his family's physical well-being. Now, to the third thing, obstruction of justice that Barrett was charged with, he hid his laptops in an attempt to prevent them from being discovered by the federal agents who were raiding his apartment and his mom's home. So these were the three things that he actually wound up being charged with. The linking was only, in the end, used as relevant conduct in his sentencing for these things. Now, you may be wondering if it's possible for this relevant conduct technique to be used against you. The only way for relevant conduct to be used against you on the basis of linking to these documents is if you have relevant crimes to this conduct. And so, if you, for example, are being charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, like, for example, you were doing something with the credit card numbers, then perhaps linking to the credit card numbers could be considered relevant conduct. But just linking to the Ashley Madison documents for the purpose of, say, publicly shaming a politician who tried to present himself as a paragon of virtue but was secretly having 3 different affairs, this is all hypothetical, there's nothing illegal about that. The documents have already been publicized. You're not committing any kind of fraud. All you're doing is saying, hey, that guy's a hypocrite. He presents himself as this moral bastion of awesome, when in reality, he's saying to three different women, oh, I'll cheat on my wife with you.
Right, he's stooping 3 different women and one man.
Right. So if he's going around stooping all of them while presenting himself as a paragon of Christian virtue, well, then perhaps he deserves a little bit of public shaming. That's up to you. But it's not illegal to do that. The only thing that they even came close to making illegal, and still failed, was linking to the credit card numbers. And they still failed in that. Now they're going to try again. It's not settled case law one way or another. It hasn't been clearly identified as legal or clearly identified as illegal. There's no clear definition about it at all. And so they will try again. But this means that in this flux period, we have the opportunity to shape the public perception through our actions. Our behavior today and in the coming weeks will define how the public sees linking to these hacked documents from Ashley Madison. And so that means that those of us who have done nothing wrong in relation to these documents, who have not hacked, who have not participated in breaking these documents out of Ashley Madison's website.
Called for hacks. People haven't called for hacks.
Anyone who hasn't said,
right,
go right ahead, hack Ashley Madison. Anyone who hasn't done anything like that,
Or whose identity cannot be traced to any actions.
Or if, as long as your identity can't be traced.
Right, because
to
that's 2
anything of the
points
sort.
right there. Barrett Brown was
Barrett
not
Brown
anonymous.
was-
He resisted being
Right.
anonymous, and he called for hacks and was openly biased.
Right. Barrett Brown was openly embedded as a publicly named journalist with the activists in Anonymous.
Hey, do you have his quote?
I do. Let's see.
This is something he said pretty recently, actually.
In a
Definitely
recent
after
article
sentencing.
by Douglas Lucas, Barrett Brown is quoted as saying, "I don't want to be the poster boy for journalism under threat so much as I want to argue for journalists to embed themselves in radical movements as long as they are honest about it, which I was. I embedded among anarchists, and nobody was going to mistake me for a nonpartisan when I was calling for hacks." So Barrett did call for hacks.
What outlet was that with?
Let's see, this was Blurring the Lines of Barrett Brown versus the Department of Justice, Blurring the Lines of Journalism by Douglas Lucas from Revolution News.
Oh, okay.
Now, Barrett Brown did call for hacks. This opens him up to some claims of conspiracy, claims of
Seditious behavior.
Yes, seditious behavior.
Which is legal.
Yes, sedition is legal. Now,
They're trying to make association and sedition illegal, but they have not succeeded.
yeah, they're trying very, very hard. They're trying to make it so that even simply participating in an IRC channel where a hack is being orchestrated from, simply being in that channel could net you a RICO charge. And that'd be unfortunate, but they haven't gotten that yet. And so in this interim period, our behavior, our activism, our linking and sharing and publicizing this information can make it possible to redefine the public perception. Because it's important to remember that politics does not operate purely upon reality, but rather upon the perception of reality. And so our behavior will reshape that public perception. And if we define through our behavior that it is acceptable to publicly link to already publicized hacked documents, then we can establish in the public consciousness that that is a perfectly fine thing to do, and increase the challenge ahead of the feds if they continue trying to make this illegal.
It's still our honest right. It's radical, but it's still our honest right. And that's
Right.
kind of what Barrett Brown would want us to think
Yes.
about, you know,
That is
when
very much,
his name comes up.
That is very much what Barrett Brown would want us to be considering, because what he's argued for this whole time was greater activism, greater awareness, greater attention to the malfeasance of the large, the powerful, and the unaccountable.
And also content quality.
Yes, absolutely content quality. And how factual your content is. And it's hard to get more factual than the raw data directly hacked from a company that was up to some mischief itself and concealing the mischief of everyone from Joe Cheater to Mr. Bigwig cheating politician. So it's up to us to make it clear to the public that although the feds might not like us to talk about hacked documents, it's not illegal yet, and it shouldn't be. And so, remember this. It is FUD that the feds want to spread here. And when you spread this argument that the sharing and linking of hacked documents is dangerous and illegal, you spread that FUD for them. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It is the oppressor's greatest tool and greatest weapon. And nothing would please them more than for you to do their work for them. To the non-hacktivists, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. What propaganda's about. FUD, hysterical crud, distorting clear truths into mud. Thank you. I'm Silurius.
I'm the Peanut Gallery.
Stay active, stay strong, and stay aware of what your real risks are.
Yeah.